So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making a new template. So up to this point, we've just used our basic template for all of our drawings. And we're going to start creating new templates depending on what type of work that we're doing. So our first template is going to be a millimeter template, meaning that as we design things, they're going to be fairly small in millimeters. Oh, tragic. What we're going to do is we're going to start by opening our regular basic template. And we're going to make a number of settings. So if you're following along at home or whatever, today's assignment is a fairly lengthy PDF that has everything step by step. So I'm just going to take it from the top here. So we've opened our default template, which is step 1. Step 2 is to set our limits to 250 by 180. So we're running our limits command. And we're going to go 250 by 180. Look at all. Can't see my thing here. Okay. So 250 by 180. There we go.
Wait, is it 0090?
Yeah, so as a reminder, we always specify our lower left-hand corner is 00, and then you'll hit enter there, and then punch in 250 by 180. Then we need to adjust our grid spacing. So the way we do that is right-click on our grid display and go to Settings. And we are going to have a grid spacing for every 2. So we're going to put 2 for our X and Y on both of our snap spacing as well as our grid spacing. And we are going to have a major line every 5 lines. And that is the only modification that we're making there. So you should have something that looks something like this. A Z enter and an A enter should bring your entire grid into view.
Wait, what's the grid spacing again?
So our grid spacing was all set to 2 by 2.
Okay.
So 2 by 2 here, and then 2 by 2 here, and then major line every 5.
Okay.
So just looking at our grid, each little square here is 2 millimeters, and I know that these kind of larger, solid line, thicker lines here, I know that these are 10 millimeters.
Wait, something happened.
Something should happen. All right, next we want to adjust our dim style. So we'll go D for dim style, and we're going to modify our class style here.
Oh god, too far. No.
And there's a number of different settings that we want to do here. So we'll start over here with lines. Our base spacing here, we're going to set to 3.
Baseline spacing?
Our extend beyond dim lines is 2. And offset from origin should also be 2. Everyone with me so far? All right, then we're going to go over to our symbol and arrows.
Wait, hold up. You go back to it.
So the only thing that I've modified here is our baseline spacing should be set to 3. Our extend beyond dim lines and our offset from origin is both set to 2.
Thank you.
All right, symbol and arrows. Our arrow size we're going to set to 3. We set that to 3 as well. It's all going to come together in the end. All right, and then our next is our text height, and we are going to set this to 3. And now it should all look good. So text, I'm on my text tab here. Text height set to 3. So to review those setting modifications we just made, our line spacing will be set to 3, which will be 3 millimeters. And then our extend beyond dim lines and offset from origin. So this is just where all of our lines are being positioned. It's going to be offset by 2. Symbol and arrows, our arrow size will be 3. So each arrow will be 3 millimeters large. Break size I also set to 3. And then our text height is set to 3, so 3 millimeters there. Okay, so we are now done with this. And we'll close this. And then something that we haven't messed with yet, but we'll be messing with soon, is our what we call multi-leaders. So you need to type M leader style. And so multi-leaders, I use them, but you haven't used them yet. But sometimes I'll draw little notes, and I'll have arrows pointing to things. So when you just have notes with arrows, those are called multi-leaders. And we're just going to modify our standard here, and our arrow size and break size. So I'm going to start here from our first tab over of our leader format. Arrow size will be set to 3. Break size will be set to 3.
Wait, Mr. Brenner?
Yep.
What was the command that you typed in?
M leader style. So
Wait, leader or leader?
leader, Leader. So M.
I'm not getting that. I'm getting something like specify leader arrowhead location.
Okay. Let's just get here. So M leader style is the full command.
There we go.
And then we're modifying this just as we would. So leader format, we're setting our size and break size to 3. And then our structure, our landing distance should be set to 3. So here it says landing, and then we're going to set our distance to 3. And then on the content tab, the text height and the landing gap should all be set to 3. So, as I know you've all already discovered, and this is simply reinforcing, CAD is amazingly customizable. So you can get things to look exactly how you want. All right, so we're now done with our multi-leaders.
Spencer?
What question?
Yes, so on the leader structure, back on modify, do we change the specify scale for a scale? Or just one?
No.
I just set it to 1.
Okay, strain is 2. Yeah. Mine still looks weird.
Shouldn't look too weird.
So does everyone else's own?
So I'll go through the 3 tabs here again. Leader format, all we've done is change the arrowhead size and break size to 3. Our leader structure, I have a 2 here, and then a 3 for our landing. That was the only thing I changed on this. And the content, we have our text height and our landing gap both set to 3. We're good? Okay. All right. Next, we want to create a new layer, and we're going to call it border. So we haven't talked too much about layers here, but everyone should have their layers window visible somewhere. I like to keep it right here. If you don't see it, if you go to Window and Layers, Command 4, that will bring up your layers box here. And you can toggle how much of your layers is shown here by clicking this layers list toggle thing. So show layers list should show you all your layers here. And you'll see all of our favorites here: center, dim, object. Good times. So we're going to click down here where it says New Layer. And we're going to call this layer Border. I like to use all caps, but that's just me. Do whatever you want. So we have our layer called Border, and when we click on our border layer here, your Properties Inspector, which is another window I like to have up, but if you don't, that's Command 5, Properties Inspector. And you can see it's saying here Layer Properties. If you don't see Layer Properties, you may have to click this little Layer Properties tab here towards the top. And we can see that we are looking at our layer border. Our border is currently on. Freeze and lock, we won't talk about at the moment. Color, we're going to change our border color to white. And so you know, in CAD, we draw in white, but then we go to print, it's black. So white is black and black is white. But all the other colors are the same, so I don't know why. All right, next, our line type we're going to keep at solid. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can read everything here. So our line type will be continuous. And we're going to set our line weight to 0.3 millimeters. So line weight will be 0.3. And everything else here will remain the same.
Let's do this.
Okay, so next we're actually going to draw the border of our template. So I'm going to make sure I'm in my border layer. I'm going to do a rectangle here. And, oops, thought I was in my border layer. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to do a rectangle. I'm going to start at the bottom of our document here. So I'm going to go 0, 0 as my starting point. So it's starting right here at the edge of our limits here. And then our border is 250 wide by 180 tall. So we should have a nice, bold border. Then we're going to draw another rectangle. It will be 10 tall. So again, this will start at our 0, 0, and then it's going to be 250 wide by 10 millimeters tall. And so that's just going to give us another box right down here. And then we've got a few more boxes here. This first one is 75 by 10. Why is that not working? Rectangle here. 75 by 10. Next one is 100 by 10. So we go 110. And then we've got another one here. This one is 37 and a half by 10. And 37 and a half should be the middle of these two. So just to make sure the remaining space should also be 37 and a half, and it is. So we're looking good. All right. Next, we have a D-text item. Yep. So the lower left was 75. And then to the right of that was 100, and to the right of that was 37 and a half. And the height is 10 on all of them. All right, next we have some labeling that we're going to put in these boxes. And the labeling is offset slightly. Looks like 2 millimeters by 2 millimeters. So I'm just going to draw a rectangle here. It'll be 2 across and then -2 because I want to go down. And that's just giving me this little square here so I can draw my text here. So we're going to do a D-text. And we are going to justify middle left. So I hit J, enter, and ML for middle left. And then I'm going to set my point, which is going to be this point right here. And then the height is 1.5 millimeters. So I'll just go 1.5. Enter. Our rotation will be 0. And our first label is name with a colon. We'll hit enter twice. This should be in your text layer. I put it in border, but it should be in text. So I'm going to move it into our text layer. Like so. Okay, and then I just deleted our scaffolding because we don't need that anymore. And then now we want to have the same label for our other boxes here. So I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to copy it in a way that is going to maintain the same border around it, or space here. So I'm going to hit CO for copy. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to grab it from my intersection right here. And the nice thing about that is now I can just click on my next intersection, and it's already perfectly spaced for me. We'll go again to our other intersection and our last one. So now I have name 4 times for each box. So obviously we need to now change our text on those. So I've just double-clicked into the next one here, and this is title. And then just by hitting enter, that'll end editing that, but we're still in our what they call DD edit, which is to edit our text. And I can just click on our next text box and edit that, which will be date. And then I'll click on our last one here, which is scale. And enter twice will exit our text edit command, ddedit. So we now have each box labeled, name, title, date, and scale. Our next step is to place our text in each of these boxes. So I'm going to start just by doing a little bit of scaffolding here so I can easily identify our center points. So I'm just going to do a number of zigzag lines here. And I'm going to go back into our text layer. And we're going to do another dtext. And this time we are going to justify middle center. So J enter and MC enter. And our point I'm going to use here is going to be right in our midpoint of this line because I know that's the center of our rectangle. And our size here is going to be 4 millimeters. So I'm going to hit 4. And rotation again will be 0. And here I want you to put your name. I want your name to be listed as last name, comma, first name. So
Wait, dtext.
you don't put last, comma, first. You put your last name, comma, your first name.
So for your last
Can you
name,
answer that, please?
your first name?
Oh, please.
Mr. Bennett, dtext, and then that's it?
Your
Or do you need to justify?
Justify middle center.
Okay, there.
is right there. Me too.
Okay, sorry about that. So at this point, you should have your last name, comma, your first name. If your name's too long, you might need to resize your text, which is fine. If you simply click on it, and then in our properties inspector, you can go down here to your height and just change that so it fits. Might be a little trial and error, but it should look good without running into your labeling or anything else there. Okay, and now that we have that field there, I'm going to run our copy command again.
Trouble there.
And I'm going to grab our text here. And I'm just going to do the same thing we did for our labeling.
Where'd you grab it in the center?
I grabbed it from the center since it's justified center. And then I snapped it to our center points of the scaffolding lines. And we're now done with our scaffolding, so I'll delete those. By now you're realizing why I recommended you follow along with lecture today. So we've got our text that we've written repeated in all of our things here. So we're going to start by editing our scale first because that's the easiest. So I'm just going to double click to get into our text edit, and we're going to go 1:1. So kind of our default scale is going to be a ratio of 1 to 1. Now for these other two fields, it gets a little bit more complicated. And this is optional. It's just going to save you some time. So the way this will work is we're going to create what we call dynamic fields, meaning that they're going to automatically update for you. For example, the date, whatever today's date is, it'll just automatically update that for you. That way, every single day when you start a new assignment, you don't have to always go in and re-edit that field there. So the way we do that is I've double-clicked to edit our text. I'm just going to hit delete to delete all of our text. And then I'm going to right-click right inside here. I'll kind of zoom in. So I got to wait till I get my mouse makes this kind of insert cursor symbol there. We're going to right click and we're going to click on insert field. And these are all different bits of information that we can have CAD automatically populate our document with. The first option here, we're going to do date and time. And there's a number of different formats here. We want to do I think we want to do a 2-digit year to save us some space. And what you want to do is actually you want to make sure that you have the date set up. This will print the current date. The create date is the date that you created the document. I guess it doesn't matter. But anyway, you can choose either of these two top options. Will just give you something of a current date. And then just for space, I went through here and I deleted 2 of the year digits. So we just have a 2-digit year instead of a 4-digit year. I think we know the century. So if you did that correctly, it should now automatically populate your field here. And it has this kind of gray background behind it, just to let you know that it's a dynamic field that doesn't actually print. Now we're going to do that kind of same process. Questions?
What's the select an annotation object while unveiled?
Hit escape. Somehow you're right. Annotate.
Is it going to be highlighted? Because
It will show as highlighted on your drawing, just to let you know that that's a field that will be updated. But when you print it, that will not show up. It'll look normal.
I don't have.
All right, now we're going to do the same thing with our title. So we should have our name and our title. Obviously, we're going to replace that with our title. And what I like to do here is we're going to insert another field here. This one is going to be a document field. And we're going to choose file name. We'll go title case. And we'll go file name only. And we will uncheck display file extension. So what this does is when you save your file, whatever you save it as, it's automatically going to update the title of your document with that name. So again, just kind of saves you a step of having to constantly go in and update your title for every assignment. So if the assignment was called going in circles, you just save your file as going in circles, and it's automatically going to update your title with that name. So again, we did document, we did file name. I'm selecting title case, which is just going to capitalize first letter of words. And then we're displaying the file name only. We don't want path or path and file name. And then I don't care if it is DWG. I already know that, so I don't need to display the extension. All right. So again, it'll say something kind of weird for now, but as we save our files, that will automatically update. All right. So I want to make sure that all of that is in my text layers, which they are. All right. So everything except my border is in the text layer. Our border is in our border layer. And we're looking good. Okay, so next step, and this is our final step, and the most critical one, and the one that is screwed up the most. we actually need to save this. We need to save it as a template. So we're going to go save as. Okay, for our file format, it's critical that we save it as a template, DWT. And when you do this, CAD will automatically browse to some mysterious location on your computer where it saves all your template files. It is extremely hard to find, but CAD will always know where to find it because when you hit new file, that's where it looks. So if you save your template anywhere else, it's going to make things complicated for you. So if somehow you've browsed away from this template folder, if you just go to any other file format and then go back to AutoCAD drawing template, asterisk DWT, that should navigate you back to your template folder. And then we are going to name this capital MM for millimeter underscore template. So it's our millimeter template. And we will hit save. It's letting me know I already have one. Okay, now this is also critical, and this is kind of silly how CAD does this, but it almost looks like you're done, except my cursor here, I have these two little things here, English or metric. Millimeters is metric, so that's what we want to choose. Feet and inches is the English system, so we want to click metric. And then you think, okay, I'm done with that. Well, you're not done. There's still this one little thing. If you notice, your cursor here is asking you one last question, which is enter template description. This is optional. You can just hit enter here. Then and only then have you truly created your millimeter template. And you'll know you've done it correctly because when you go to File, New Drawing, you will actually see millimeter template. So for this assignment, I want you to submit just your blank template. You can either create a document and send it as a DWG or DWT, I don't care. It just has to look exactly like this with everything correct. And you're done with that assignment. And I've got one more assignment today, which is just kind of a fun practice dealing with angles. So go ahead and tackle that. So any questions at all on our millimeter template?
I got to the enter template description after you click on the metric. Where do I do that?
You just hit enter on that one.
Okay.
You don't have to enter a description.
Sweet, thank you.
You got it. Okay. Thanks for following along.
You're welcome.